All right, folks, we'll give this a minute or two before we get started. But welcome. And hopefully for context, this meeting can be interactive. I'm going to give a spiel here in a couple of minutes of about 15 minutes or so of content. But if you guys have the ability to turn your cameras on, please do so. You've joined a community, and as a community, we need to see one another. Appreciate it. So good morning from the West Coast of the United States. Appreciate everyone joining this new member orientation discussion. My name is MK Palmore. I'm the Vice President of Cyversity, and I'm also a member of the Board of Directors. The work of the executive team, as you might imagine, is all volunteer work for this organization because we're all passionate about the mission. I'm going to give you guys some background on what that leadership team looks like towards the end of my talk. In my day job, in my day capacity, I'm a senior cybersecurity leader at Google Cloud. I've been in the cybersecurity industry for a number of years, spent a significant career in the U.S. government as a public servant for 32 years before joining the private sector, but have been acquainted with and in the cybersecurity industry for a good amount of time. I joined Cyversity as an organization back in 2017 when they were doing a West Coast roadshow. As I indicated, I'm in the West Coast of the United States and have been both a member and leader within the organization essentially ever since joining. So opportunities abound for folks who are interested ultimately in helping to support the organization. And as new members of the organization, you should always have your eye towards eventually volunteering and helping to support the activities of the organization. That's also something that I'm going to mention towards the end of this discussion. So I'm going to go for the next 10, 15 minutes or so, probably less than that, hitting on some items that are relevant to you guys as new members of the organization. And then I'm going to open it up for some Q&A because I'm sure that as new members, you guys have questions about what your expectations are of the organization now that you have joined, how you can fully embrace your membership in the organization so that you get some benefit out of joining this now growing network of individuals who are all keyed up and passionate about this idea of bringing more women, people of color, and veterans into the cybersecurity industry and the tech industry more widely. And, how do you get your footing in the organization so that you can both get access to the things that the organization has partnered with other organizations to provide? And, how do you think in terms of potentially giving back at some point? So hopefully you guys can see the screen to reacquaint you with the mission set of the organization. Essentially, to give you the Reader's Digest, this organization was started by a group of minority men who were longtime security leaders and practitioners. And essentially, the idea here is that as an organization, we want to bring more women, more underrepresented minorities, and all veterans into the cybersecurity industry. And we do that via a number of programs that we have built out over time. These programs are based upon our knowledge of how to get people into the industry, which we now know through studies, through empirical evidence. The more training you can give someone, the more actual experience you can give someone, that typically equates to opportunities within the job field. And our goal as an organization is to marry all of those entities up. In other words, get you guys as individuals enough training, enough access to opportunities in terms of internships and potential jobs within the ecosystem and network that we've created so that you can then subsequently benefit from your membership in terms of gaining access to both the community and opportunities. We're a growing organization. On the screen, you see some demographics in terms of how it is that we're growing in terms of our, ethnicity component, gender for those who have chosen to identify, and by age range. And I will tell you that, one of the things we want to be as big and as inclusive an organization as we possibly can be. But one of the things that we're driving towards as an organization is really being able to participate in the growth and development of cybersecurity practitioners throughout the entirety of their cybersecurity experience. And so by that, I mean, eventually as an organization, our goal is to capture folks at the high school level, take them all the way through their journey, whether that be college or getting skilled post high school, and then subsequently jumping into the industry. Those initial roles that folks have within the industry, mid-management roles, senior leadership roles, and then the in status, as you guys might imagine, for cybersecurity practitioners typically is, senior, very senior executive and leadership roles, and then off into the sunset with board memberships and potential consulting opportunities. We want to be able to be contributors to your journey in all aspects of that. And you see here some growing numbers. I think our membership right now is just below 2,000. We've gone up and down in membership numbers, but our goal ultimately is to build out an organization that's roughly 7,500 to 10,000 members. And I think we're going to be able to get there the more that we're able to amplify what it is that we offer as an organization and what we bring to the table to our members. And also there's an international component to this, as we do have our eye set on potentially establishing some chapters external to the United States in a variety of locations, especially where we see that there's a gravity of interest by folks who are also practitioners around the world. This issue of the lack of diversity in the cybersecurity field is a global issue. And the numbers bear this out. Not only are there somewhere in the neighborhood globally, 1.5 million open positions in cybersecurity. Here in the US, 750,000 per year open positions in cybersecurity, and not enough folks in the pipeline. And as you might imagine, not only are there not enough folks, there are not enough women, people of color, veterans to occupy all of the open positions that are in cybersecurity. So there's a huge opportunity gap that exists between the available folks who are trained, skilled, ready to move into this industry and all of those open positions. And we want to be a part of closing that gap. How do we do it? We have a strategy, of course, as an organization, which, as I was indicating to you, we want to promote the idea that training, internships, when you combine those things with training and experience, you actually get folks who are able to get into the industry and thrive. We want to make sure that we're helping our members develop their skills along the way. As you go through your journey with Cyversity, you'll learn to understand that we have a number of partnerships in place that allow us to create opportunities for our members to develop their skills. We have partnerships with some of the most, what I call just the awesome top tier organizations in the cybersecurity learning and development lanes. I'll name a few. Some of you may be familiar with the names, maybe you're not, but you will become intimately familiar. Names like the SANS Institute, strong partnership with them, some of the best cybersecurity training on the planet. ISC Squared, which many of you may know, is responsible for certifications in the cybersecurity industry that are some of the most well sought after certifications and certifications that have been proven to translate into success in the industry. And entities like Coursera, Cybrary, which are these training platforms that allow you to access a voluminous amount of cybersecurity training and information. We have partnerships with all of those organizations and many, many more, because our goal is to enrich the capabilities of our members as they go through their member journey with us by providing access to that kind of and quality and quantity of skills, training, and opportunities. We also provide an opportunity for you guys to connect with one another and the broader cybersecurity community. If you have any conversations with me offline, one of the first things that I'll tell you guys is that your network is the most important thing to your journey in cybersecurity. And to the degree that you can develop your network and expand it in any opportunity that you have. You then open yourself to future and potential opportunities in the cybersecurity field. So we provide ample opportunities for you to connect with this community, engage both virtual and in person. And I will tell you that, these connections are not built overnight, and they only happen with your actual engagement. So we're asking you guys to get dialed into the virtual and in-person opportunities that you'll have available to you over the course of your membership. And then, of course, the last piece of this is, how do you get in the industry, thrive, identify mentors, potentially become a mentor to others? All of these kinds of things are important to your life cycle and how it is that you experience and or show up as a cybersecurity professional or cybersecurity practitioner. So I've been touching on a couple of these areas. I'll take a couple of minutes to highlight some specifics around what that means to you guys as new members. One of the things is the Engage series. These are the chapter meetings and what I call headquarters or national events that happen every month as your membership progresses. And by that, I mean each of our existing chapters holds both virtual and or in-person meetings on almost a monthly basis. So when I get to the chapter list and you guys see how expansive it is, there are opportunities for you guys to expand your network and engage multiple times per month. And I'm going to explain to you exactly how I would ask that you potentially do that once I get to the chapter listings. But these meetings tend to be very helpful. And what we've asked the chapter leaders to do is to change it up, cover a variety of topics, right? Don't do the same thing every month. Don't present to your members the same thing, members in your geographical area, the same thing every month. And so they go through a series of things like topics around career development. We may bring in senior leaders from the industry for direct fireside chats. We may bring in technical folks that look like you and I, who are thriving in the industry, have a deep amount of knowledge and have the ability to present deep technical topics. And, there are, by the way, opportunities for you guys once you get to that stage to do the very same thing. Your ability to communicate, develop your presentation skills as it relates to cybersecurity is one of the most vital components that you absolutely need in order to thrive in this industry. If you have aspirations to not only break into the industry, but move up the ladder, you got to be able to communicate technical concepts, and you have to do it in a way that allows you to own the room, deliver your content, and then be ready for feedback and questions on the other end. We provide ample opportunity for you guys to get that kind of exercise under your belt, and then help you prepare for what that might look like external to the organization. We have a formal mentoring program, which I would, some of you may have come into the organization via that program and can certainly, I think, attest to the benefit of having the ear and access to senior leaders in the cybersecurity industry. I would encourage you to, if you haven't participated in that program, I would encourage you to participate, regardless of what stage you're at in the cybersecurity realm, and think about what it means to be on both ends of that. In other words, participate as a mentee, and then be thinking about, once you are in the industry, once you're thriving, coming back through that program and participating as a mentor. One of the things we have to get used to in this industry is the idea that you have got to help uplift others. That's also a part of what this organization is all about. Like we have got to give each other a helping hand. And so if you are lucky enough, like many of us have been, to get into this industry, thrive, be able to see what it's like day in and day out in the cybersecurity industry, be able to create pathways and careers for ourselves, other people can benefit from that kind of knowledge and experience, and it's our responsibility to share that with others. Those mentoring cohorts, at least twice a year, I think, is the pacing that we're getting to on that. So a spring cohort and a fall cohort. Again, I would advise you guys to participate in those programs if you haven't already. The last thing on this, which is really the meat and potatoes or bread and butter, so to speak, of what the organization provides to our members. This is around the ideas of scholarships and training. I've mentioned to you guys already some of the organizations that we partner with. I can tell you, as one of the executive leaders of the organization, these partnerships are in constant flux, which means we're always out having conversations, seeking new opportunities to partner with external organizations, and then bring that value right back to you as members of the organization so that you get access to these partnerships. There are a number of organizations out there that want, first of all, that are passionate about this, like we are, want to be able to get access to folks like yourselves, but they don't know how to do it. And they come to organizations like Cyversity and say, how do we get in front of this audience of women and diverse practitioners so that we can deliver what we would like to be able to provide, whether it be training, whether it be scholarships. So there are a number of things. You guys will start, if you haven't already, getting weekly emails about the training programs that are going on, the scholarships that are available. You are not automatically enrolled in those as members of the organization. So when you see a scholarship opportunity, a training program pop up, you do have to apply for it. As you might imagine, we get a lot of interest in those programs when we roll them out and when we solicit for people who are interested. We had a program that my chapter here in the Bay Area sponsored that we did globally that had more than 1,000 applicants come through the pipeline who were interested in essentially what ended up being 50 to 75 slots. So you do the math. A lot of folks are interested, but we had enough funding to send through essentially 75 folks to a program. And we have a formal selection process we go through either with a partner or ourselves as an organization to get down to the folks that we think could benefit most from these training opportunities. What you have immediately available to you, though, as members, and you should just check with your chapter leaders on this, you have immediate access essentially to potential license availability within the Coursera platform or within the Cybery platform. I don't know that you need both, so be particular and choose one or the other. They're both very good training and educational platforms. Coursera, as you are likely familiar with, has a plethora of training available within the construct of the platform, and we have licenses that we give the members for access to that. Cybery, interestingly enough, is only cybersecurity focused, which, as you might imagine, there's some alignment there on the synergy and mission state of our organization. And we also have opportunities for you guys to train with ISC Squared, which, as I mentioned earlier, if you don't already know, are responsible for some of the industry's most, how should I put this? People want the certs from ISC Squared. The CISSP, still the benchmark for cybersecurity professionals, is a cert held by ISC Squared. We have a formal relationships that gets you guys into the pipeline there and allows you access to ISC Squared material. That's constantly ongoing. Please don't just delete the emails that you see from week to week because they're chocked full of information from Cyversity, because these programs are coming online all the time. And sometimes from week to week, the information is going to be different. So my advice to you is to not delete, get used to seeing those emails, probably preserve them so that you can at some point during the week go back through and see what's new to the organization and potentially new to your chapter that might be helpful to you on your journey. Here's a layout of the chapters. I'll have to work in the future to make this look a little bit more from a design standpoint, consumable. Well, we've got a number of chapters now positioned across the country. The chapters there that you see with the P in parentheses, those are prospective chapters that should be coming online here in the next 60 days. So that's Charlotte, South Florida, and Southern California. But the ones without the P are the active chapters that are up, running with vibrant membership, and those events that I was keying in on, both virtual or in person, happening nearly every month for all of these chapters. Here's my recommendation to you as new members. Because we are all still now in a very persistent virtual state, we're having this meeting virtually. I'm sure in the companies that you work for that there's lots of virtual meetings that you have. You have the ability to actually tag in to any of the virtual meetings that are provided across chapters. So if you get an email from Cyversity saying that there's going to be a meeting by the Bay Area chapter, and there's a particular topic and guest that you're interested in viewing, I would encourage you to attend that chapter meeting. You do not have to geographically be part of that chapter in order to plus in on the meetings and get the content. You're members of the organization. all of this stuff is available to you, and those monthly meetings are free of charge. So I would highly encourage you. There's a lot of great knowledge and information that's provided in the context of those meetings. I would highly encourage you to pay attention to the weekly emails that come out and register for the meetings that you think are of interest to you and that you can plus into. And I would also, if you have even an interest in developing from a networking standpoint, geographically, folks in a particular region, attend those meetings. There's opportunities to exchange LinkedIn profiles and lots of other different information that you can exchange with one another to create a more vibrant networking system for you. Each of the chapters has at a minimum 3 leaders in place. I can tell you that that chapter operations or running a chapter involves a ton of work. I actually launched the Bay Area chapter of this organization back in 2019. It's one of the more vibrant chapters, but it's also an area where you have to understand that there's a tremendous amount of volunteerism that goes on for a nonprofit organization of this size, well, which is why I'm going to be highly encouraging for you guys to actually volunteer as well as you go through your journey with Cyversity. We have a conference this year, as we do every year. This year's conference is in Orlando. This will be the last year that we hold the conference in Orlando, but highly, highly encourage you guys to attend. Everyone who attends this annual conference walks away energized about their journey in cybersecurity. We have dynamic speakers. There's going to be training opportunities at the conference. It's a quick hit, like 2.5 days in Orlando, so chocked full of events and activities. Put a hold on your calendar. Registration's now open for the conference. We're taking in speakers and looking for keynotes. There's a tremendous amount of activity that's going to be going on. I would highly, highly encourage you to attend. In terms of in-person events, if you had to say there's one security event that I'm going to go to during the course of the year where I'm actually going to make sure that I get to that conference, network, see, exchange information with folks, learn, that kind of thing, I would put this as your number one target. I indicated multiple times here, we're a volunteer-led organization. What you see here on the screen is the current board of directors. All of the folks you see listed here on the screen are senior leaders in the cybersecurity industry. A couple of the folks you see here on the board still remain are founders of the organization. And so they have a vested interest in ensuring that the organization continues to thrive and that we continue to contribute to the industry by preparing folks for entry into the cybersecurity field. Get involved, folks. Get engaged, please. I can't emphasize enough the need to raise your hand, both get benefit out of the organization, but also help support. Some people have a tremendous amount of bandwidth, others do not. Everybody's different. If you have the bandwidth, if you think that supporting the organization's overall goals are something that you can put in your weekly cycle of engagement, there are opportunities to volunteer. What you see across the top line there, these are the major programs for which we need volunteer support, mentoring, scholarships, training, chapter management, and the ambassadors program. More detail on those on the program particulars later, but each of the programs that are things that we've identified where we want to spend extra time and cycles ensuring that for the benefit of the organization, we make investments in those key 5 areas. Be engaged, stay engaged. Social media, as we all know, and I'm done here in about 30 seconds, is prolific. Cyversity post things. We amplify the messaging of our members. We like to highlight successes of our members on social media. If you see the post, if you're following, please do follow Cyversity on Twitter, on LinkedIn. Amplify your association with the organization. When you see the messaging come out, please amplify that messaging. It's very important that we get the name of the organization and what it is that we're doing in terms of serving you guys as members, but also the impact that we're having on the industry, that we're able to amplify that messaging as much as we can. And then the other thing is, as you see benefit in your membership in the organization, please bring others to the table. Folks want to know that these opportunities exist, but oftentimes they don't know how to do it, how to get started. This organization is a way to get that messaging in front of people. I've talked much longer than I had originally planned. Let me pause here because unfortunately I have another business meeting at the bottom of the hour for my primary job. at Google, but I do have time for maybe 2 questions before I release. Any questions from you guys, that anything that I've presented or questions you have about the organization? You can just pop off mic, I think. If someone wants to see the board members again. There you go. Any questions?
Yes, quick question.
Albert,
Okay,
go.
sure.
Yeah, I'm sorry. How you doing, sir?
I'm good, Albert. How are you?
I'm doing great. Just a quick question. I just want to know if high schoolers can also register to become members.
They can. High schoolers can register to become members, but I will tell you that all of the stuff that we have that's going to benefit high schoolers is in flight. That doesn't mean that as a high schooler they're limited in terms of access to training. I just think we're going to have an inclination, if we have to choose numbers at this point. Obviously, we're going to be inclined to support folks who are of college age, maybe folks who are new in the job field as opposed to high schoolers. But that is a demographic that we absolutely want to be able to reach out to in the future and offer things specific to where they are at their stage in development. But the short answer is yes. Appreciate the question.
Right. Thank you.
Any other questions? Everybody's shy on calls like this. Hi, Maureen. I can't hear you.
Hi, good afternoon.
Yes.
I was asking, is there a chapter in Canada?
And Canada. Now, is that what you said?
Yes, Canada.
Yeah, we are exploring. So the short answer right now, no, but possibly in the future there will be. That's obviously one of the locations we're exploring. Probably shouldn't say obviously, okay, but it is.
All right, thank you.
Yeah, one of the countries, I should say. And Maureen, if you're able to come off mic, I'm not sure if you are. I still can't hear you. You can put your question in the chat. We'll be sure to capture it. Or you can reach out directly. You guys are free to contact any member of the board, myself, anyone in the executive leadership team. Of the members that you see there on the screen, the members of the current executive leadership team are Larry Whiteside, who's the current president, myself, vice president, Sharon Burgess, who is our VP of strategy and also vice chairman of the board. Any of the 3 of us you can go direct on, no matter what, but you're always welcome to reach out directly to the board members as well if you're connected to those folks on LinkedIn, or you just want to send them messaging within the Cyversity email system. The chapter leaders and executive team all have cyversity.org email addresses that you can message them and communicate with them. Also, I failed to mention Slack channel, which is our current method because we're exploring some other platform changes here in the future. Please join the Slack channel. There's a tremendous amount of communication that goes on within our Slack channel of benefit to members, things that pop up, people throw job postings in there, all kinds of stuff, training opportunities. So if you are not on the Slack channel, you're going to be missing out on a fair amount of information. So please join the Slack channel when you get notifications about that. All right. Hey, to our team from virtual who's on the call, I have to drop for another business meeting. Again, the lines of communication are open. If you guys have follow-on questions about your membership in Cyversity, please do not stew on it. There are folks who have the information that you need, can get you rolling, get you started on your journey with Cyversity. We welcome you to the organization. I promise you this will be a beneficial journey to you in terms of your cybersecurity or journey in technology. And we look forward to certainly meeting you guys face-to-face at the various cybersecurity events that go on throughout the course of any one particular year. And we are excited about having you guys on board as members and looking forward to helping you in any way that we possibly can. So thanks for joining this quick call. Keep the questions coming, keep the engagement going, and we look forward to helping to support you guys anywhere you happen to be. All right. Welcome.